Oh, this is Debbie, and this is Light Up Your Worth. I am so excited to bring you this week's guest, Julie Getzinger. And she's an intuitive life coach, international best-selling author, and astrocartographer who studies the energy of location. This is going to be good. She is on a mission to help entrepreneurs find the best places to work in the world, live, and find love based upon their birth charts and the Astrocartographer maps. She has been traveling to her different planetary lines for the past 6 months as a digital nomad and has seen massive shifts and growth in her business ever since, and wants to teach others how to enjoy the same. When she's not working, she's going on adventures with her kids or the many animals she takes care of as she travels across the USA. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
It is super fascinating. I wanted to jump in and just ask you, what is the astrocartographer?
Astrocartography is the study of the energy of locations. We look at your birth chart first, then I can see things like life purpose, how you show up in relationship, what careers might be good for you, how you give and receive money. We project it onto the astrocartography map, which shows all the planetary lines and what you might experience in those areas if you travel there. I'm focused on business right now. Jupiter is in Gemini, which is perfect for me because I'm a Gemini. This year is like an expansion. I wanted to leverage that energy and travel based on what I was looking to do in my business at that time, whether it was writing, speaking, teaching, selling something, marketing something. I would travel around to different places in order to leverage the energy there.
So if you were interested in your birth chart and wanted to, say, write a book, or you wanted to grow operations or a membership or your coaching, it would be aligned with different lines,
Yeah.
which are the astrology lines.
Yes.
Planet.
So like Mercury is good for writing, speaking, and teaching. Look for your Mercury line on your astrocartography map. Then that can show you a good place for those things. You also want to look in the birth chart to see how is Mercury supported or challenged by other planets. If challenged, it might not be as strong supported by your birth chart. It's a great place. If not, look to other planets. Venus is generally very supportive. It's called a benefic planet. So Venus helps us to feel like an energy of love, appreciation. It also rules money, prosperity. So Venus is typically a great place to go, as is Jupiter. Like those are usually our go-tos. Venus and Jupiter is good luck, prosperity. And the sun line is also very positive because it brings positive energy. It brings social time, happy, fun times. But we also need to look at parens. So parens are what go through the map and the latitude. As you can see on more professional software, which is why we do professional readings, because it gets more detailed as to what else is part of that story in that location.
Oh, that's interesting. So you've mentioned Mercury, the sun, and Venus. Now, what about, does the North Node? I don't really know much about astrology. I've had multiple people talk about different aspects of it, probably because of the human design. And so, does the North Node have something that is
Yeah, the North Node
tied?
represents destiny, destined connections, opportunities. When we think of destiny, we get excited. It could also be a destined challenge. Oh, I could be thinking that illness, accident. Every planetary line has positive and negative. Malefic tends to be more challenging. Benefic tends to be more positive. But all lines have both. Like everything in life, everything is just our perspective. We could say it's great 1 minute, and we could say, yeah, but that part of it, I don't like. We're the ones judging it. In general, Venus and Jupiter are more supported, as is the sun. Mercury is neutral, could go either way. Depends on how it's supported or challenged in your chart and what else is happening in that location.
Oh, that's interesting, because before the podcast, I pulled up one of the free charts on it so that I could at least become familiar and have semi moments of intelligence for us.
Yeah.
And so what I saw visually, right, this map pulls up a map of the world, and then it has lines with different colors, blue, red, green. Do the colors mean anything?
That's a great question. I've never heard the color being of like significance because on different software, there are different color lines.
Mhm. Okay.
So I would say no, but generally the sun is yellow, Mercury's green. They typically are the same color, but on some softwares, they're actually different colors. So I don't go by the color, I go by the symbol of the
The
planet.
planetary stuff. No. That is really fascinating. How did you get interested in this?
I had an intuitive reading. I've been obsessed with California. I'm from Maryland and had this dream that when I get to California, everything is going to work out for me. Like my business is going to explode. I'm going to find my love partner. I'm going to find my soul tribe because I do spiritual work in Maryland. It's I get funny looks when I tell people I'm psychic or do astrocartography. They have no idea what it is or scared. California is quite the opposite. Anything goes. And I really want to get out to California. I've hosted 11 retreats and I have done retreats in California that were very successful. Like my most successful retreats were there. And I was like, I need to do more there. I've had so much financial success and fun there. She said, you've been talking about this for a long time. You should go to an astrocartographer so you can get specific on your birth chart first and look at your map before you move out and get yourself across country. So that was really wise advice. So I did book a reading and Helena Woods did my reading. She's excellent. She's my teacher. She's the one that trained me. And she showed me, she was like, California looks really good for you. Have you been to California? And I was like, I just laughed. I'm like, yeah, I've had this dream. And there's a lot in California. Actually, your Venus descendant line goes through there. Venus is love, beauty, appreciation, feeling good, like enjoying slow living, like just like really rich energy there. And then this descendant represents others. So that's destined connections, love partner, great friends, soul tribe, great clients. It was correct. That line is going right through California. My business did explode again. I was there for 3 weeks, clients booking left and right. It was just like I imagined it would be. It was. And then, and of course, it was hard to leave because I was like, this is incredible and everything I've asked for. And I am a mother and I have children in Maryland. So I wasn't going to stay forever. I enjoyed all that success and then came back to the East Coast. Since then, I've gone back and forth. I've done Oregon and Maryland, East and West for the past 6 months.
I'm from California, Bay Area, born and raised.
Yeah.
Probably close till I was like 40. I lived there. It wasn't until I was close to 50 that I moved out. And so I find that fascinating because it's almost multiple countries within the state of California. Using your Venus line, it goes all the way through. You were looking for towns within a certain
Mileage, like 70 miles as our radius. Carl Lewis, creator of astrocartography, recommended looking within 70 miles. And also the latitudinal lines. I use Solar Fire, professional software that lets you get more detailed so you can see more specifically. Now, not every part of California is good for me. San Jose is more disruptive, more intense energy. Helena, when she did my reading, said, I don't know if you want to go to that. If it looks intense, you want more friends, find your partner, go up this way. The line on my map curves. So it starts in Southern California, goes up through the north and across Montana, Idaho. You follow the line across the map, like the planetary lines, and then the parents are the latitudinal lines. So you look, and we also look at the radius to see how close we are to that line.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm from San Jose. The energy there is very different than it was 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's really chaotic there. The energy is pretty intense. That's funny. That was the one place they're like, no, don't go
Yeah,
there.
it was
Nope.
like, not this area here.
Right. When people are coming to you for a reading, what are most curious about?
Lately, I've been attracting empty nesters, like people, women who are in that place of, okay, for so many years, I've taken care of my children and maybe they're retired or thinking about it. Now it's my turn to live my life. I've been doing everything for everyone else. Now I'm ready to go somewhere else. I can go anywhere. Maybe some of them might be digital nomads like me too, so they can travel. And so that I help them see good places to go based on what they're wanting to do next. Like if they want to write a book, we can look for Mercury. is they're wanting to find their partner because a number of them are single. And we do attract who we are. I'm a single mom. So I attracted other single moms who also have the fantasy of finding that divine love counterpart. So we've looked at that, help women find love partners. And then some wanted to travel locally. Maybe they're not interested in moving and have a family. Maybe they've got younger kids or their spouse doesn't want to travel. Then we can look at local space. And local space helps you look very specifically just at where you live. Driving in a certain area in your state, it's going to feel different. You can play with that and go. And I've worked in libraries. Like I will do meetings from different libraries in Maryland to see what I experience, the interactions with people around. Since I do this full time, I'm very attuned to and always looking for evidence and like testing it out myself. I document it. I journal about all of it. I write it down to help clients see what to expect with the energy. You don't have to move. You could go to coffee shops, libraries, restaurants, and then also vacation. Like, where would be a good place to go for vacation? I've had couples come to me and say, where would this be good for both of us? Because if you're going to move your family, we want to look at both partners, the husband and wife. I look at both birth charts and then I look at both of their maps to see where a good place would be for both of them to go.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So what could people expect then when they do the private reading? Like any of those examples? Like I like the example of writing a book because I know a lot of people, a lot of
Yeah.
entrepreneurs
Right.
are writing a book now.
Okay. Yeah. So writing a book, what I would do first is I look at your birth chart first. I have a form for the city, state, and exact time of birth. We need exact time because within 15 minutes, it could change your whole map. You need to be as specific as possible. And if people don't know, I do have people that I can recommend to do a chart rectification for you to find out that exact time. Or you could go to your birth certificate, call the hospital where you were born. Parents might remember, might not remember. It's good to see documentation first. And then, so I'll look at your chart, get a picture of your life so I can see your strengths and challenges. And then we want to like utilize your strengths more. So whatever you have stronger in your chart, I'm going to look at the astrocartography map to boost you energetically. And then as far as planetary lines that are good for writing a book, Mercury is good. And also Saturn. Saturn is like focus, discipline. It's let's sit down and get this done. I was on my Saturn line for 20 years with a Saturn transit. Transits are when the energies are passing through
Mhm.
and they can be fast or they could be very slow. It could take a long time. I was there during the Saturn transit and I feel like I'm running in place, getting nowhere. That's another reason I booked an astrocartography reading. My business has grown quickly and I'm used to fast progress. That's always what's happened. All of a sudden, everything stopped. I was like, what is going on? This is not I'm used to fast growth. What is happening? It was during a Saturn transit and I was on my Saturn line feeling stagnant and bored. I was just like, I got to get out of here. Told my landlord I was ready to travel and he let me break my lease. I still had 8 months left, but I prayed for divine intervention. It'd be like, we can find someone else. And we found someone like that. It happened very quickly as I
Mhm.
manifested. And then I was on my way. Book writing, I'd say Saturn and Mercury to get the work done.
When looking at the whole chart, are you also looking at the decade? I don't understand it enough, so I don't know if my question will be clear, but
Yeah.
the season, how you can add the year and see this is what's happening this year and use that with the math. Does it
So that would be more in depth, like a follow-up reading. I could do that. That's looking more at timing, called cyclocartography, and looking at cycles. For the first reading, we don't get into that depth, but we can do that in a follow-up reading. But what I do is just look at like your birth chart first, like this static birth chart, then timing later. On the astrocartography map in the software I use, you can see the lines moving. You can do it day by day. Every day, stuff shifts. Click a button and you'll see today in this location, these are the energies. Tomorrow, these are the energies. The next day, these are the energies. If you're taking a trip or planning a retreat, we look at, okay, if you're doing your retreat in this location or thinking about this location, what transits are coming through? Like what and we want to be aware because you don't want to be there when there's some kind of like Mars or Uranus or something crazy, like disrupting everything. We can look deeper. But I also use my intuition a lot. So I start with my mind and using the training that I've had to look at the map, like writing I write reports because I'm intuitive and I go in and out of when I channel. So I use my mind first the night before someone's session, and I write out a whole entire report based on everything I know about all the planets and what they could possibly need to know to make an informed decision. I tell them to relax because I am intuitive. Sometimes I'm just told a place. I just hear something and tell them Kansas. It's not random, right? And I'm like, have you been to Kansas? And they're like, actually, I wanted to go to Kansas. And I'm like, oh, well, I just heard Kansas for you. So during the section itself, I do use my intuition more and I combine that with the report. We go deeper because I'm empathic and I sense when someone is feeling some kind of charge around something. I feel resistance from people. I feel excitement during the session. Some intuitive coaching comes in to keep it moving. If someone's resistant, they're not going to hear anything else. We work through the resistance first. I ask them what it's about, and then we do some clearing, and then we keep going.
Now, I've heard the word transits, but I don't quite understand it. Is it just moving through this period of time, like
Yeah, I
4
think
weeks,
of it as movement.
Mercury's,
It's
they
just
all work
movement.
at a different speed, right? Or
Right.
move
Like
through.
I think of public transportation like transit. I think of movement. It's a mad thing, the universe. Things are shifting, some things faster than others. You have your static chart based on where you were born, it's a snapshot of when you were born, the placement, right? And then so we look at that. That's like the core. And then the transits is just like everything shifting and moving over time and how it affects that static chart. I think of transits as passing through when I'm going through a hard time. Everything's temporary. Everything's passing through. I might feel this, but it's just my emotions wanting to be felt. Maybe there's past trauma still living in my body. I've been doing somatic healing work. Just let those emotions pass through to come back to truth. Things are always changing. Like everything's always shifting and changing. I see it like the little prince, just like this little person and then this big universe and we're just down here and we think it's so big and so important, but there's so much happening in the universe.
When I was working with my coach, Valtopia, a channel and artist, I realized how sensitive I was to astrological changes. She follows Leo King, who's dramatic but accurate. And she would have listened to it daily, and then she'd hear from me on Voxer, and she's like, "You were, like, talking about what he was just talking about, like, how you're" and I'm like, "I had no idea, but it kept happening." Now 2 years later, it's been remarkable to understand. I hardly know anything about astrology, but I respect how powerful, just like you said, everything is temporary. I've moved a lot, lived in 6 states in the last 7 years, and they do have different energies. When you're going through different grid lines, are you doing intuitive healing for the area?
I love that question. I realized what I was doing was alchemizing energy myself.
Mhm.
I have attracted a lot of people who've gone through loss. People come to me for one thing and someone dies. It has happened a number of times. Someone hires me as a business coach and it becomes grief counseling. And that's happened to me a number of times. And I was like, at first, wow, this is so heavy. I'm honored they trust me. I can hold a lot of space for people, like I can. And I was like, why does this keep happening? What is this? But it was like I was in grief too, attracting others in grief, and I wasn't allowing myself to fully grieve. Going through divorce, I went through financial loss, the loss of my family unit, everything changed. My children were younger. So I had a lot that I hadn't processed through myself. And I realized that traveling to these homes, not only was I healing myself, and I needed to be alone. And it's interesting that there's animals in these homes, like dogs and cats, and they're powerful alchemizers. I realized I wasn't only healing my own grief. When a dog goes to die, it isolates itself. I felt that for myself. I was isolating, alchemize the grief. It wasn't just my grief, it was grief in the areas I was drawn to, grief in the house, in the land, in the earth. With my psychic therapist, I had a vision of a tree. The roots spread out in the earth. I was the tree base, and the branches were my life experience. We all are that tree that is rooted in the earth and has the tentacles in every direction. We're not just in one place. Our energy's everywhere. The branches are where we're choosing to take pieces from and experience. That's the base. That was the visual I got. I started getting advice like protect your energy more. And I was saying how emotional I was. But why is it bad to be emotional? Why are we judging emotions? Just because someone says they're crying, that's not bad. Maybe I needed to cry. I'm a single mom. I've been through a lot. And I always feel amazing after I cry. I
Mhm.
feel incredible. After tears and grief comes joy and relief. I've done all this healing in these places. And now I want to go back to Maryland where I'm from.
This pilgrimage that you went on was part of your healing to go claim back parts and pieces of yourself, and to the grieving that you were going through was actually extremely healing, because I believe that tears, which so many people are afraid of the heavy emotions, whether it's angry or crying, but those ugly cries are so powerful. It's a cleansing, like water. Plants grow from water, and it's our internal water. You had mentioned also about releasing these emotions out of our body is so important. And we can't do that if we're in the bubble around our head, not connected to our body. And so it sounds like it was a connection of you and your whole body into the land. And the tree represents roots and groundingness at its finest with Gaia. And it just sounds like that was part of what needed to happen for the land and for you.
Yeah. And I needed to disconnect from people in my life that wanted to stop me from this journey. I had to block people that weren't going to let me go easily. I must go. Nothing was going to stop me. I had no idea how long it was going to be. I couldn't answer the question, when you coming back? I have no idea. It was the lunar eclipse on the 17th of September. Everything shifted. I was like, forward in. What the heck was all of that? I met with my therapist that day too. We were laughing like it was a movie. And we were having so much fun. He was the perfect player on the ride. We got to celebrate, laugh about my movie. And I'm like, this dog and this, like, they were fun. Not reconnecting with people I blocked. I'm just like, hey, I'm back. I'm sorry I even hurt you, that I had to distance myself, but that's what I had to do. And I don't feel bad or guilt at all.
I admire that you listen to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we're encouraged to actually listen to ourselves. And like you said, people with the best intentions
Right.
are always trying to keep us from hurting, but then we stop ourselves from living.
Right.
We all came here for a reason.
Right. Who are we to stop anyone from experiencing anything? That's what I've been learning too, the whole motherhood thing. I've never felt like my children were mine. I see them as souls that chose to pass through my body to gift me with motherhood. I don't see that whole, it's my job to tell them what to do. I model for them what it is to choose yourself. Their dad is very grounded in one place, one career. They get to see both sides and choose what works for them. I've learned a lot about motherhood on this journey. My new best friend in California is named Mary. I burst out laughing because I pray to Mother Mary all the time. I let us see Mother Mary, and I learned for Mary. What? I had a blast. We played like little girls, had ice cream cones, went roller skating. That was my experience in California with Mary's.
Yeah.
Like, it was perfect, like the perfect part of my movie.
What I find intriguing is that we get to choose that. I didn't think this when I was younger. I was more into what I knew, even though I was in California, in San Jose. It wasn't really what people were talking about when I was growing up. It grew into where people are always, all the freaky people are out in California with different views. That's where I got exposed to spiritual stuff, understanding how we impact our own lives, the energy we put out, what comes to us, and that we have that ability to step back and look at our life. We have that ability, like the movie you're talking about. It's powerful when we
Yeah.
start viewing it that and the whole temporary, everything. We've been hearing that saying our whole lives. Oh, everything, nothing's permanent. It's just a season. And what would you say to somebody who's thinking about doing some type of pilgrimage yourself? That's what I'm going to call it. Just
I love that you called it that.
what would you suggest to do it armed with that knowledge?
Get them going. You'll never be the same after you complete it. My therapist said, Julie, you're not the same person. He was with me at the beginning. I met him right before I started. I've only been working with him maybe 7 months. Literally met him a month before my pilgrimage. He held this space for me from a place of non-judgment, which I do for my clients. So he gave me that gift. He gave me this safe place to cry and to be in fear and gave me that boost, like you got to go without saying you got to go. Like I felt the energy. I felt his support, you can do this. He gave me that gift, which I'm giving others. It's a reciprocal gift. I believe there's no going back. Once you know something, it's like divorce. If you knew it was over, it's hard and it doesn't make it any easier to be the one that leaves. In fact, I think it's harder because you leave with guilt. Did I try hard enough? Could we have worked this out? But my soul knew it was over. I have to go. I don't want to, but I know I have to. This part of my journey with this person, this house is over. And I can't not know that now that I know that. And it's painful when we ignore ourselves. And when our intuition is saying it's done and we stay anyway, becomes more painful. That was my first taste of trusting myself. I did not have the support of my family, which was hard. No one thought I would survive. It really felt like they're like, you can't, you're not, you, I was an elementary school teacher. They're like, you'll never be able to make enough money. And then I did make a lot more money in my business right after I left because the universe was, I said, show me I'm meant to do this. I had people book sessions right after I made that request. I said, if this is right, show me. I do that often with the universe. If this is right, make it clear. I get signs from animals or dreams. If you're considering it, you already know. If it's even a thought, like it's there and it's going to get louder. And I think when we don't go is when we start to resent others, blaming them for why we don't go on our pilgrimage, why we don't become the biggest versions of ourselves. We came here to expand. Some came to expand more than others. Some do a little, some want a lot. If you want a lot of expansion, listen to yourself above all others. It's me and God. That's it. Everybody can be advised, share wisdom, but it's me and God. Nobody else is going to decide for me. And I do see God working through me. God guides me, but God is me. This connection I have, no other human knows. They're in their own experience. Thank you.
You expressed the importance of listening to ourselves, how powerful that is. And you get these messages when we have the awareness to listen. If this is right for you, asking those questions, show you the way.
Right. One of my friends said her affirmation is show me how lucky and blessed I am. From an energetic excitement. Show me. I know I'm going to see it. Let's go. Like in that energy, you will be shown.
Love that. What is one thing you would like a listener to be aware of if thinking about having this type of reading?
Trust your curiosity. It's a really fun experience. It's the most fun kind of reading I do. I help people through grief, divorce, heavy things. This is fun. But it feels different to me. It feels different to them. It's just fun. It's let's play together. Let's explore. It's like a scavenger hunt map. I remember after I had my reading, I rewatched it maybe 10 times because I was so fascinated by the science and proof. I know things, I'm claircognizant, but I don't know why. Now I have proof. I'm happy to have a map. Of course that happened. There's a pattern of where the planets are in your chart that predict divorce and big breakups and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I got Saturn there. That's pretty likely that I was going to go through a big breakup or divorce. I have Aries there. Yeah, it was likely I was going to be an entrepreneur. Like I wasn't really going to be happy working for someone else. So it gives you that like peace of knowing it's part of your chart. So stop blaming yourself. I've also had a number of careers and I've gotten judged from others from that. Oh, here she goes again. What's Julie doing? Oh, now she's doing sales. I'm the laugh of the party. Neptune in my career house, which is head in the clouds. It's spiritual work, but it's also confusion. It rules confusion and delusionment. So I have experienced a lot of confusion around my career and profession. I have. And now that I know I'm not beating myself up, it's in my chart. Part of my chart. Yeah, it's been confusing. Yeah, it was. It was. And now that I see it, I'm like, yeah, it's not anymore. Now I'm really clear. In this moment, I know this is what I'm meant to do. Maybe tomorrow it'd be something else. But in this moment, this is what's fun. This is what feels good. And before our interview, we were talking about follow the joy. Like what feels good, what feels fun. Do more of that. Figure out how to monetize it later. Just do it because it's fun.
The podcast was on hiatus. Now I'm doing interviews and it is my joy. Every person I meet brings me joy. It's that connection, learning, people sharing. And I believe that I'm an advocate to empowering other women to understand their own worth. And this is that vehicle.
Yeah.
It's talking more than a writer. There's a book in me. It's powerful when you're in your joy and following the joy because it really does radiate out. Of course, you're going to go meet Mary. Of course, you're going to get told on your thing not to go to San Jose. And here you're on my podcast. And that's where I was born. Nobody ever mentions San Jose ever on my podcast.
Wow.
I could feel the difference in my energy when I'm not doing it. Now that I'm doing the interviews again, I feel that joy coming back.
I spoke my full book and then I transcribed it. I didn't sit down and write it because that feels arduous. I'm a speaker like you. So I just spoke it and then I used a transcription service, Otter AI. I had someone interview me who didn't know as much about spirituality so that the reader, because it's a spiritual book, he asked me questions about spirituality, spirit guides. We recorded our interview and transcribed it. I put it into chapters.
And I'm going to now change our subject. I want to know, and these are the two questions I ask all my guests. And to help us all connect, music can change everything, right? It can change your mood, your energy, moving your body with yoga or however that shows up. And so I want to know what song uplifts you. You can use it to change your mood, but really uplifting you and changing your energy. What song would that be?
Unstoppable by Sia. Lyric, I'm so powerful, nothing stands in my way. That's how I feel. I had an incident where an adult was bullying me. She was trying to sabotage my business. And it was obvious that song came on. And I was like, I am powerful. I excused myself. I went to the restroom and I'm like, did that happen? I think she did. And I was like getting angry. And then it was like, I'm so powerful. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And I excused myself from the lunch and I reported her. She was in a position of power. And I didn't like what she did. Took it to the group and reported it. That song, I laughed because it came on like Spirit was like, let's pump Julie up.
That is such a powerful song, A Portia Without Breaks, right?
Yes.
The vibe behind that song is powerful. Oh, that's wonderful. I'd love to hear that. My second question is, for what you know now in the season of your life, if you had to reflect back to your younger self, what would you tell yourself about your own worth?
It was never going to come from anyone else. Any accomplishment, any amount of money, no one could give it to you. The happiest and most joyful you will ever be is when you're in your own presence and truth.
That's beautiful. Your fear self was like, let me answer that for you.
That's that.
I got this. Oh, isn't it so powerful? It all really is within us, our own innate truth.
I've always had the desire to be a speaker. As a child, I was painfully shy. I never spoke in class. I never wanted anyone to look at me. I was afraid to be seen and heard. As I got older, I was like, wait a minute, I'm a speaker. I'm a speaker. I'm a speaker. And I had this like burning desire to speak. and to express, but I didn't know what I was speaking about. I had my own podcast, interviewed many experts and people I admired, and I was envious. And I was like, when's it my turn to be a speaker and to know what I'm to speak about? It wasn't until now that I felt that call and I felt like I have something to speak about. You giving me this opportunity and the questions you asked helped me tell my story in a way I've never told it before. The gift you gave me is powerful. This is the first time I've told my true story.
Thank you for honoring me and the listeners. It's a testament to when we stand in our own truth and we allow things to unfold. I was so excited for today's interview. I cannot wait to connect with Julie and hear more about this. I had no idea what to expect.
This is the day I became a mother too. This is my first daughter. Her birthday is today. So 13 years ago today, I became a mother. This is a special day for me.
That is special. Motherhood is the most beautiful and hardest thing we'll ever do. Julie, how can people reach you?
Yeah. Well, you can reach me on Instagram, Julie Getzinger Coaching. Also, my website is juliegetzinger.com. And yeah, that's the best way to find me to book a reading. I do empowerment coaching too. So if you need some kind of somebody to like light that fire under you to get you going and just to be like, all right, let's do it. Like, I know what I want to do. And I can be that person that helps to ignite you and to get you on that road and to give you a map. I wrote down every detail in a free guide called the Digital Nomad Starter Guide. If someone's interested, it doesn't need to be forever. Like, could be 1 month, 1 week. Like, who knows how long it's going to be for you. But just to have some kind of practical guide for like, where do you send your mail? What do you do with this? I wrote all of that so people would have a guide to get started.
Oh, that's great. And that's on your website.
Yes, that's on my website.
I will list all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. This was a fun experience.
Thanks.